Today, we are diving into a journey from feeling confused and lost to finding real clarity. And here's the secret. It's not about making huge, massive changes. It's about the small, simple habits you can start doing every single day. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? Like you're being pulled in a million different directions, running as fast as you can, but you don't even know where the finish line is. You just know that there has to be a calmer, more meaningful way to live, but figuring out how to get there feels, well, impossible. Wow. That feeling of being shackled, that's so powerful. It's that moment when you finally realize you're just reacting to life, not actually living it. And that deep, bone-deep exhaustion, that's often the real wake-up call, where making a change stops being something you want to do and becomes something you absolutely have to do.
Okay, so before we can even start looking for the light, we have to get real about the darkness. We have to start by figuring out where that feeling of being lost is actually coming from.
You know, it sounds so simple, but this is honestly the most courageous first step. It takes real guts to be willing to shine a light on the parts of your life that just aren't working, to actually name them, maybe even write them down, and finally admit, okay, this is what's holding me back.
So, what could these shackles actually look like in your life? Well, it could be a friendship that just leaves you feeling drained, or a job where you feel completely unseen. And what about the endless, mindless scroll on social media? Or relationships that just take and take and take? A lot of the time, it's the thing we do on autopilot that actually has the tightest grip on us.
Once you've actually identified the problem, once you've named it, the very next step is to create a little bit of space. This is where you really start to see that first ray of light breaking through.
So the first move is to just pull the plug. Step away from whatever is causing the drain. That could mean taking a week off social media, no excuses, or setting some really firm boundaries in a tough relationship. Look, the goal here isn't to solve everything overnight. It's just to hit the pause button on that exhausting cycle and give yourself some actual room to breathe.
And this right here describes a huge mindset shift. Taking this break isn't about giving up or failing. It's about choosing to consciously slow down. And in that quiet space you create for yourself, you'll start to notice other things, the important priorities you've been pushing aside, and those might just hold the key to everything.
So you've turned down the volume on all that external noise. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You finally get the chance to listen to your own inner voice and reconnect with your spiritual side.
The sources we're looking at really emphasize using this quiet period for a sort of personal spiritual retreat. Think about it. When your mind isn't cluttered with 1,000 distractions, this unique opening appears. It's a chance to build a new, much deeper connection with God, to serve as your anchor in the storm.
This really gets to the heart of why this is so important. This spiritual connection, it's not just about feeling good for a moment. It's about building real, lasting resilience. It helps you find a sense of peace that makes you less attached to outcomes and more okay with the journey itself. It's the foundation that helps you handle life's curveballs with grace instead of panic. Okay, so with that inner foundation feeling stronger, it's time to build the external structure for your new life. We're talking about the real, tangible, daily habits that are going to carry you forward. These 5 habits together are an absolute powerhouse. First up, silence. Just a few minutes every morning to quiet the chatter in your head. Then, journaling. This is how you untangle your thoughts and figure out what you really want. Next, movement. Just 15 minutes can have the same effect as an antidepressant. Then, a daily gratitude practice. This literally retrains your brain to look for the good. And finally, sleep. Getting to bed early and waking up early works with your body's natural rhythm, giving you the deep rest you actually need. And here's a little secret that's so simple but incredibly powerful. When your mind feels chaotic, take a look around. Your space probably looks chaotic too. Just the act of tidying your desk or organizing a bookshelf sends a huge signal to your brain that you are creating order. It's the physical version of the internal clarity you're building.
Now for the million-dollar question, right? We all kind of know what we should be doing, but how do we actually make these new habits a permanent part of our lives? How do we make them stick?
This is the secret weapon against procrastination. Don't tell yourself you're going to read for an hour every day. No, commit to reading one single page. Don't promise a 30-minute workout, just do one push-up. The whole idea is to make the task so ridiculously easy that your brain can't even come up with an excuse. You just do it. And that leads us to this awesome technique called habit stacking. The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of trying to carve out a whole new time slot in your day, you just piggyback the new habit onto something you already do automatically, like brushing your teeth or making that first cup of coffee.
Let's look at a perfect practical example. You have an existing habit, right? Your morning prayer. That's solid. Your new, tiny habit is reading just one page. So you simply link them. The formula is, after my existing habit, I will do my new habit. After my morning prayer, I will read one page of the Quran. The old habit becomes the trigger for the new one, and before you know it, it's just as automatic.
And here's another tip. Don't underestimate the power of telling someone. When you tell a friend or a family member who supports you what you're trying to do, you create this positive kind of social pressure. You're not just accountable to yourself anymore. And trust me, that's a huge motivator, because we really don't want to let down the people we care about.
So how long does this all take to feel natural? Well, psychologists often say that if you practice a new habit consistently for about 21 to 30 days, you build a really strong foundation in your brain. After that first month, that feeling of resistance really starts to fade, and the new behavior starts to feel like a part of you.
You know, as you build these habits, something amazing starts to happen. The focus slowly begins to shift. It becomes less about just fixing yourself and more about how this newfound energy and clarity allows you to show up better for other people. Because really, the ultimate goal of finding your own light is so you can share it.
Which brings us right here to one final question for you. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. What is the one tiny, ridiculously small action you will take to begin? Because that single step, repeated over and over, that's how this whole journey is won.